Dallas Cowboys pasted the Vikings 40-3. And it felt like that, boy. Oof. I mean, from the get-go, they were in absolute control of this game. And we'll talk about whether this kind of makes us more down on the Vikings, whether it gets us excited about the Cowboys. But right now, I want to focus on what Dallas did well. I mean, when you were watching that, what was the biggest thing that jumped out to you?
Well, one of the things that got me worried about this, like not worried, but maybe like staying away from like betting wise with the Cowboys this weekend was I rewatched that Packers Cowboys game from last week. And you brought up a great point with Anthony Barr out, the use of Micah Parsons. And I'm watching Micah Parsons, the off-ball linebacker, and I'm like, oh God, you still have a ways to go, bud. Your chaos doesn't work when you're off the ball. And so I got a little worried going into this game that like, he's not going to be unlocked. Well, first drive kind of alleviated those worries. At least for me, I know the Vikings actually probably like, oh God, dang it, you guys are letting him pin his ears back. But man, just a complete performance. The defense looked like how we think that defense could play, but then just Dak is Dak, and the run game is the run game. It is a very complete offense. One of the more complete offenses, I feel like, that is just really, really fun to watch. Dak was 20 for 20 when not pressured today, had his highest EPA per dropback this season, had some great kind of designed run plays, not great plays. I should say just one designed run play, but the run game as well from the Cowboys was just so good. They're hitting everything, duo, outside zone, inside zone. And it's a really, really complete team. And I like just the wrinkles that they're throwing in. They're starting to do some, of course, the 12 personnel stuff with Ferguson and Schultz. Oh my God. Yeah. Dalton Schultz. Schultz. Wow. We're already at the brain fog already. But with Schultz going like this, you see just how Dak was on. And when Dak is on, it is like, it's really hard to stop this team because they're able to consistently run on everybody, especially in those personnel groupings. And now they're throwing in stuff like RPOs, smokes, screens, and they're doing all the change-ups off those looks. I'll get into a couple in a little bit, but just I feel like they're a really complete team and one of the more complete teams in the NFL right now.
I totally agree. And I just think offensively, they have so many answers right now, and that's why they're so cool to watch. They can run it on anybody. I mean, they were really pushing, and it's fun because there's downhill runs. There was been a lot of conversations this year, I think rightfully so, about all of the power running plays we've seen, all the gap running plays we've seen, all the counter and all the power and all these things, a pin pull and people just pulling and getting on the move. Cowboys, they were like, we're going to run them in 12 personnel and we're going to run the ball downhill at you. And there's nothing you can really do about it. I mean, the first touchdown drive that they had, I remember if they scored a touchdown in the end of it. I think they did. They did.
Yeah. So once Zeke dove in on the one.
So yes. There's so many points. It's hard to keep track of. Just multiple, like 12 personnel duo right at you runs from Pollard. And first one was a big chunk, probably 20, 25. Then had another one that was a really nice. Zach Martin had an awesome game today. He had 5 really, really good moments. So you have that style where they're just running the ball downhill at you. The smoke to CeeDee Lamb is a really good example. They had another swing to CeeDee Lamb that was just like an extended running play that got called back because of an illegal shift. But just those abilities to kind of have Dak control the game, where your passing game is an extension of your running game, you control the tempo. There was a lot of that. Even the Pollard touchdown, the first Pollard touchdown where he's getting to the check down and the clear out and they managed to turn it into a 25-yard touchdown because he gets the ball in space. Like he was just in total control. And Dak is never going to be this guy that's making all these wow throws, even though he did make a couple today. But when you watch some of these guys that struggle to control the game and they struggle to control the tempo or how the game feels, or they always feel scattered or rushed, he's the opposite of that. So just watching somebody who really does feel like he's in command all the time is such a contrast from bad quarterback play. That's how I feel when I'm watching Dak. We can argue about where Dak fits in the hierarchy and whether he's a top 10 quarterback, all of that stuff. But it's a very distinct difference when you watch Dak Prescott play the position and when you watch bad quarterbacks play the position. And I think that distinction is almost more important than whatever number we're going to put next to his name as we're ranking quarterbacks.
Right. And that's why I'm a sucker for him, because it's like everything is pristine with him. Like he hit they ran a quick game under center, stick spacing, the concept's called, and he hit Pollard on a swing for a first down. It was in the second half. It's like 2nd and 11. And Dak on a 3-step drop, under center's 3-step drop, gets through all 5 options to get to Pollard. Like 1, 2, 3. And if you want to see the difference, watch Kirk Cousins run a under center quick game concept who just locks in on number one, maybe gets to number two, and most of the time ball gets batted down. Like that's the difference right there between those two. But I'm glad you brought up the Pollard touchdown on the swing, because I had Beller load up the play on that. This is just really showing Dak in control, because it's a 4-strong concept with trips to the right. Michael Gallup is the lone receiver, and Pollard is kicked over to the trip side. On this, a lot of times the Cowboys will run this and they put Gallup on a slant. So instead of going on a slant, they're just outside the red zone here. They put him on a sluggo, which is a slant and go. And Dak, he is so in control, so calm in the pocket, understands what defenses are. The Vikings are in cover 6, which is cover 2 to the lone receiver side and quarters to the field. And on that cover 6 look, he looks at the sluggo, gives a little pump, and sees Harrison Smith hanging over there. He progresses, boom, 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 and gets to the swing to Pollard. And he gets there so quickly. And that's why there's so much space, because Patrick Peterson runs with Noah Brown on the under route. And then he gets there so quickly. That's why there's so much room. That's why checkdowns are better with better quarterbacks, it seems like. That's why it seems like you're like, man, the Chiefs, they get these checkdowns. They go for 12 yards. It's because Mahomes gets there so quickly. Same here with Dak. And that just shows him just being under control and understanding what the defenses are doing. And on top of it, like just like their run game, again, like their play calling is they're really throwing its other wrinkles. I also wanted to mention, like, we're talking about controllers. That's RPOs, the smokes that you brought up, the screens that you bring up. When a team runs play action, we think of that as a control to help out the run game. You're faking the run to throw the ball. Then the opposite of that is running draw plays, or other plays like on third down, the run play, like which I always go gaga over. The Cowboys are the best draw running team in the league, like just a running back draw. Old school, second and long, they run draws, and that helps out their pass game, because now you don't know. You can't tee off on them. You can't do all the things that you want to do. And on top of it, like there's the one designed run on 3rd and 6 that Dak ran. And
so I was going to ask you this. I didn't think this was a design run. I thought it was a play action pass where he took off. It was a design run.
It was
I was going to like it even more if it was a design run. So I'm glad that you think it was.
It is. It's a design run, because they all start blocking. All the receivers do. So that's actually what helped me, because it did look weird, because Dak, the mesh point was a little funky. And
in real time, I wrote it down. I was like, oh, that's a design run, because I want to bring up a stat here in a second. I was like, oh, that's a design run on 3rd and 6. I can't believe they ran a design run on 3rd and 6. And then when I rewatched it, I was like, is that design run, or did he take off and it's play action? So
it is.
You can roll it, Bauer, but it was funny that you distinguished between that.
I love it, because they're running more designed runs with him. They're getting back to some of that early Dak career stuff. Like he's already passed how many designed runs he had last year, how many he's run this year. So this is just a zone read, design run, 3rd and 6. And the Vikings are running a lot of quarters where we talk about how smart the Vikings DBs are and how well coached they are. Now they kind of play against it, because the Cowboys do, because those Vikings DBs and defenders are so worried about bracketing their guys and having the eyes on the receivers. So the Cowboys just run zone read, and Dak just runs for an easy first down. And they do that. And it's just a nice change up. And I love that. Again, they're helping control the pass game, because now the defense has to be honest. They have to play the run as well as along with the pass. And they did that. They had a 3rd and 3 where they ran inside zone. Same thing. Vikings are in quarters, expecting a pass, running a nice inside zone, easy. So just, again, these are just the things that mess with match rules and just control the defense. And it's like, that's why I'm becoming a sucker for this offense again. I think this is the best Kellen Moore has called plays, the best he's designed plays. I think this is the best he's looked as a play caller and a play designer. And Dak is just operating like a machine right now.
I'm 100% with you. So the stat that I pulled that I loved,
can't wait.
They were 7 of 7. Their first 7 3rd down runs went for first downs.
Ooh, I love it.
It's that's 7 great. 3rd down runs that went for first downs. I mean, that's just when you can do that, when you feel comfortable running the ball in those situations. The 3rd and 6 is obviously the most extreme example, but they were doing it on 3rd and 3, 3rd and 2 consistently throughout the game. And I think one of the reasons that Kellen Moore does look the best that he's looked is that Dak looks the best that he's looked physically.
Yes.
That's the biggest differentiator right now for what this offense is this year compared to what it looked like last year. He had a play, I think it was on the 1st or 2nd drive, where he gets out of the pocket and finds Schultz on the run to his right. Beautiful play, nice throw. And then he had a missile shot to CeeDee Lamb to set up that 60-yard field goal on the move outside of the pocket. You just showed that 3rd down run where he's getting the first down with his legs. His ability to scramble, make plays outside of the pocket, combined with all the other stuff they're doing, we didn't see a lot of that last year.
Nope.
We were concerned about their ability to find explosive plays last season, even with Amari Cooper in the fold. Dak not being able to extend stuff outside of the pocket and what comes with that, I think really sapped their ability to get those plays. Yep. And if they're going to have him moving around, extending plays with his legs, adding to the quarterback run game, diversifying their run game because he can move, those are elements they just did not have last season. And I really do think they're leaning into them in a smart way. And it's really cool to see.
It is. Every play is available to them. Like as far as quarterback runs, normal runs, under center, shotgun, dropbacks, nakeds, like they call everything. Like they're going to be such a pain in the ass to game plan against because they lean into something different every matchup and every game. And I'm really, really digging what they're doing. Like it's cool because they're doing, we talked about hitting the easy buttons. They're hitting easy buttons for him. And on top of some of the hard stuff that they can do, it's a very, very
hard stuff. We already know that.
We can.
And so this blend is the right blend. That's what it feels like.
That's what it is. It's some early career Dak stuff with what we've seen maybe the last 2 seasons when he's kind of actually 2 years ago when he was on Fuego before he got hurt. And then last year where he was kind of banged up the whole year, but still playing well. But you can kind of tell, like you said, he didn't look right sometimes. There's a reason they didn't run him on QB sneaks last year. They're like, he's banged up. We can't
down
do
in the red zone. They were not running him on purpose. And now they are. And I think it's a huge difference.
Absolutely.
2 other guys on the offense that I just want to talk about briefly. I already mentioned Zach Martin on the long touchdown to Pollard where he runs the wheel. They lined up Zadarius Smith over Zach Martin one-on-one on a 3rd and 14. And Zach Martin just stonewalls him. And it's just a fantastic rep from a Hall of Fame player. But it's worth remembering, similar to Chris Jones in this game against the Chargers, like what elite players do for you in those moments where they show up. And Zach Martin is a truly elite player. And then the guy on the receiving end of that throw, having Tony Pollard be a real part of this offense and a high-ish volume part of this offense, higher volume part of this offense is a very good thing. Like he is right there as like the most explosive skill position player that they have. And that includes CeeDee Lamb. So using him and unlocking him is absolutely huge.
And he's become more of a complete player. I think what the whole Zeke Pollard thing is exhausting to me because I still think Zeke is useful. It's just that Pollard is explosive. Zeke gets on base. Pollard hits home runs. Like that's the difference between
100%. And when you need juice, they need it. They don't have it in enough places to marginalize this guy. They just don't.
No. And I think I want to speak to Pollard becoming more of a complete player. This is the best he's ever been in protection. And that's why he can be on the field on 3rd down. That's why he can be on field to catch that wheel route. Is because now they can trust him in protection to put him on the field on 3rd down. And on top of that, he's running in between the tackles, the best he's ever run between the tackles. He was always he wasn't bad at it. He wasn't kind of like, like Miles Sanders, who always wanted to bounce stuff. He's also gotten better as well. But Pollard would kind of, he looked to bounce some stuff. And now I think he's gotten so much better, like that duo run. He's learning to kind of tempo his runs. And I think that is really why he's becoming unlocked because now they can call everything with him. And I think before he was kind of a designery play type that they're like, oh, we only can run toss plays with him. Oh, we only can run screens with him. Oh, it's a 6-man protection. We don't trust him against this blitz heavy team. And now they do trust him. So they have a 1A, 1B and it's, oh my God, it's fun.